June 3rd, 2016, the day two men were buried in Copiah County when part of the gravel pit they were working in collapsed.
As we near the anniversary, WJTV's Beth Alexander takes a look back at what went wrong, what a federal investigation uncovered, and how the families of the men who died are coping.
It was a Friday and a regular work day for Dee Hemphill and Emmett Shorter. The men got to work at Green Brothers Gravel around 6 a.m. with Hemphill supervising the shift. So begins a 35-page report from the United States Department of Labor, Mine Safety and Health Administration, or MSHA for short. Hemphill assigned himself, Shorter, and another worker to load and transport material out of Johnson Pit in the northeast corner of the mine. At 11:25 a.m., Hemphill was loading Shorter's haul truck when the east wall of the pit began to break. Sand and clay breached the wall and engulfed the excavator that Hemphill was in and the truck Shorter was driving. The report shows that 911 calls went out at 11:30. Emergency responders were here at Green Brothers Gravel Pit 5 minutes later. Copiah County EMA Director Randall Drain says when he got the call, he thought the gravel pit would be dry and the men would be out by the time he responded.
But then once I got on scene and seen the actual sludge and everything, the way they were buried, you know, it was something I've never seen. I had no clue.
That's when Drain called Mississippi Emergency Management. MSHA was also called, but they decided the miners could not be reached because the ground was unstable. So they built an access road to get to the equipment. The process went into the night. On June 4th, a crane arrived to lift the equipment out of the pit. But by June 5th, rescue workers knew there was too much material in the pit and they wouldn't be able to pull the equipment or the men out. Instead, they pumped the mud out. Michelle Newell is the mother of Emmett Shorter's daughter, Zariah Shorter. Zariah was away from home visiting family when the collapse happened.
She didn't know what was going on. And I had to get her a flight out the next day because she was in Washington. So when she came back, the first thing she asked when she got off her plane was, "Mom, where's my daddy?"
Michelle says she never gave up hope that Emmett might be found alive.
Couldn't wait. At the time, I didn't tell her. Because believe it or not, after they had been down for so long, I was still holding on to faith. I was like, his truck's still on. He's still making a way. He gonna pull it through. I still didn't tell her.
Patty and Dee Hemphill were together for 25 years. 20 of those he worked off and on at the gravel pit, and Patty says he loved his job.
It was like it wasn't Dee. You know, this couldn't be happening because he was all about safety, not only of himself, but of everybody in his crew.
By June 6th, more pumps and crews arrived. On June 7th, enough mud was pumped out to get in the haul truck. But it would be 3 more days before Shorter was found. But on June 8th, the excavator was found, and around 10 that night, a body was found in the cab.
Copiah County coroner confirmed Dee Hemphill was the worker found overnight Thursday.
His body wouldn't be removed until the next morning as crews doubled their effort to find Shorter. Pumping continued on June 9th, and on June 10th, crews with radar and cadaver dogs continued their search for Shorter's body. He would be found that night, although his body wasn't removed until the following morning, June 11th. Ending the 9-day recovery effort.
When they told me that they had pulled him up and that he was gone, I had to tell her. She broke down. She wanted to know why her daddy, out of all daddies in the world, it had to be her daddy, and that was by far the hardest thing I ever had to do.
On June 20th, MSHA inspected the accident scene and interviewed employees. Their report shows the accident happened because the mine operator failed to ensure the pit embankment was substantially constructed. There were no barricades or warning signs in place to prevent access to the hazardous area of the pit. The mining operation didn't ensure wall, bank, or slope stability, and examinations and corrective actions weren't implemented to ensure the safety of the miners. The conclusion of the report reads in part that the mine operator failed to protect miners from obvious hazards. The report also states that neither Hemphill nor Shorter had the required training. Green Brothers were given 6 citations after the accident.
I just wish it could have been done better. I wish they would have followed the right procedures in doing everything and handling their business out there. Maybe it wouldn't have happened like this today.
WJTV reached out to Green Brothers, but our request for an interview was denied.
You may never understand that.
You never will understand. You never will know exactly what happened because, unfortunately, you know, it was a tragic accident and there's no one to tell.
you know, if his death, you know, changed the culture, the safety culture of the gravel pit or the mining industry, then, you know, he would be up there laughing right now, because he would say, well, look what I did.
Patty wears Dee's wedding ring on a chain around her neck. She never takes it off. To this day, she hasn't watched any of the news coverage from the accident last year. But recently, she found a turning point in her garden.
My youngest son, Ronnie, he came by the other day, and I always had flowers. With this year, I said, I'm not doing any. I'm just not up to it. And he came up and he started crying. He says, Mom, it looks like there's still a funeral going on. And that upset me, because I can't help my kids if I can't help me. So I went to Walmart, and they had a bunch of flowers on clearance. So I bought all of them and hung them in my front yard.
That's wonderful.
Getting through June 3rd is going to be hard.
It's the same at Michelle Newell's home.
She have her days when she just wants to sit up and talk about him. She still cries. She look at her pictures, and his obituary, she always talk about him. I would never have to bring him up. She never let him die down.
If you could say something to him, what would you say?
I love you.
In Copiah County, Beth Alexander, WJTV 12.
Now, with a story like this, there are so many elements that we want to share with you.
And you can go to our website, it's WJTV.com, to see an extended cut of the story, along with the full investigation into the accident, past inspection reports, and a detailed timeline of what took place 1 year ago.